And we are live after India's disappointing loss to Bahrain. Our Asian Cup run comes to an end, and what looked like we were 3 minutes away from creating history, it all got ruined for us. The 1.3 billion people of India disappointed, and the most disappointed people here with me have joined us for a special discussion, including Ashwin. Ashwin,
Hi, Prasad.
catastrophic, heartbreaking, gutted, long day at the office today.
Yes, it was really, after having played such a brilliant game against Thailand and UAE, it was not expected of India to lose against Bahrain. And it was heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. 90 minutes, 22 seconds will always be etched in our minds forever. 14th January, especially, we hate that day now. Never ever should we have a match on that day now.
Absolutely,
Bahrain,
5-2 and now 1-0 against the
yep,
same.
against the same opposition. Yeah.
And the other guest joining us, Mr. ACP, Pradyumna Tembhekar, who's equally disappointed and couldn't speak a few things in the studio. Pradyumna, आज बोल ही डालो, आज बोल ही दो सब. So, Pradyumna, let's start with the game first, but let's start with the lineup.
No comment.
Constantine did a Constantine in his last game. That's all I can say.
That is a perfect answer for that, DCB. No bad.
Ashwin,
Yeah.
yeah, Pradyumna, go on.
I mean, you replace your best young midfielder, one of your best players, dynamic, technically gifted players in Anirudh Thapa for an Indian Bakayoko. I mean, what is? I mean, he lost the ball. He wasn't able to dribble. He lost track of the midfield. And plus, the thing is, Borges was given a role which is not suited for him because he's more of a technically gifted player when it comes to holding the ball and going forward. Instead, he was told to just hold back. Basically, two Prana holders in the same position. So that's
Oh.
actually what might have cost the game for us because if you see Anirudh Thapa, he is a box to box midfielder and we needed somebody like that against a team like Bahrain because the game plan actually would have been the same like that like the one that we executed against the United Arab Emirates. It was as simple as that. We just needed to keep the ball on the ground. We just needed to go forward. We just had to make sure that we just progress silently but efficiently. That was the only thing because we were out of energy. Let's be honest.
Mm.
Anas Todeka going in the fifth minute, for me, specifically for me as a medical professional, it wasn't it was not much of a surprise to me because of the simple fact that he's already having a hamstring as well as calf strain since the ISL days. So I expected that injury, but not so early in the game. But come on, guys, we've got we the way we played against Thailand and UAE, that wasn't the kind of performance and team selection. I mean, and plus, there's one more thing to talk about. I couldn't talk about it in the Star Sports studio. I don't know. I might have been kicked out of the studio had I said that. I'm actually surprised that some of the Bahrain players were on the pitch. I'm actually surprised that some of the Bahrain players weren't in the referee's book. I'm actually surprised one decision taken by the referee defied the laws of biology and physics at the same time. I mean, how was that a back pass?
That
How on
wasn't a
earth was
back
that a
pass.
back pass? I mean, what Subhashish Bose क्या पूरा टैकल सिंक्रोनाइज टैकल डाला क्या उस पे क्लियरेंस के नाम पे? I mean, how can that be a back pass? And Gurpreet would have done the same thing as any other goalkeeper in the world would have done. Please, David De Gea on goal there, yeah. He would have done the
Yeah.
same thing, collecting the ball. I mean,
Hmm.
how was that a back pass? And still India didn't concede, being so close to the goal like that. Still India didn't concede. So you know what kind of brainwashing was done in halftime. It was just to save energy, just to make sure we don't spend much energy going forward, so that we
Mm.
save block Bahraini chances and just make sure we just get a point and job done. But a major but inexperience and age factor, both of them coming handy for the Bahraini guys. as far as
Yeah,
tactical approach is concerned.
yeah.
And not a fitting farewell to Constantine, to be honest, because he's done a good job. I mean,
He's done a
all the
pretty good
banter
job.
aside, yeah, all the banter aside, everything aside, I know Constantine wasn't the coach for the Asian Cup. It was obviously Chetri. Constantine wouldn't bring that kind of performance against Thailand. Come on, dude, come on. To
And
win.
absolutely, we are going to get to that Constantine topic a bit later, yes. But here's a question for you, ACP, from the live chat.
Hmm.
Saurav asks, ACP, your views on Rollin Borges, his inclusion in the midfield. It's a question.
Okay.
Your views on Rollin?
He's asking me.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. See,
Oh,
listen.
already.
Borges for me is a very good player. I mean, given the fact that he's scoring goals for Northeast United and he's marshalling the midfield for Northeast United under a manager like Irko Shatori, who already has Indian football experience, so he's actually proving a point there. All in Borges. Technically good, dribbling ability nice. Why I call him a Bakayoko is because now a little bit of European reference, but still, I'll try to minimize the European reference as much as possible here. Is why I call him Bakayoko is just because of the ability to win the ball and run forward fast with the ball.
Hmm.
That's what the guy is all about. And Roland
Hmm.
Borges has good shooting ability as well. You saw the free kick against UAE that led to Jingan heading the ball and hitting the
Heading the
crossbar.
ball.
So that's what Roland Borges is capable of. Scenario was different. Selection wasn't bad. The scenario was different given the fact that there was too much of mental pressure involved in the Bahrain game. We knew Bahrain is a beatable opponent, but
Yeah.
why change the lineup and why especially change that factor of the field with a player who has not played many games for India in the recent past? Given the Intercontinental Cup, he just played one match in the tournament, and
Yeah,
Thapa was the one who was running the show.
absolutely.
I,
So
Yeah,
it's
if
more of
yes,
uh,
Ashwin.
Uh, I think the reason Thapa did not play was that he had a back injury. That's what was conveyed to us. Uh, so I think the early match where he was fouled by the UAE player and he landed straight on the back, right? That probably was one of the reasons why he did not start. That is what has come out from the press conference with Stephen and Chetri. Uh, so yeah, these decisions were made. Going back, I've heard the press conference with Chetri, and he was very very sad about it. Right? He
mm,
was
Yeah,
constantly
clearly.
he was constantly on only one point. It wasn't a mentality to be defensive, but
Hmm.
post the 60 minutes, 70 minutes, we just thought that defense will be the only solution to take a point and get over the line, and that is somewhere he himself agrees on that there were a lot of crosses getting fired in, and it was bound they were bound to concede sometime later on.
Also, yeah, also Ashwin, just coming straight to you again on one more question on the live chat is why was JJ put in? What was he doing? Is a question.
Lost soul on the field yesterday. I think that was not one of the moves that I expected. Getting Ashik off, though he wasn't playing his best games, Ashik also did not play his best game in this tournament against Bahrain. I think Rowling should have been substituted for probably JJ if Thapa was not fit. Again, if Thapa was not 100% fit, I think JJ should have come in and should have played it in a more attacking role rather than waiting for the ball to come to him and then take it across the field. Uh, and again, yes, Ashik substitution also somewhere down the line, I think had taken a back space for us. Uh, you will say Ashik has space, irrespective of whether he wasn't playing well yesterday, but I think he had some pace up there.
Hmm.
He was trying and running for the ball. He had a chance, obviously, to pass the ball to Chetri, and probably Chetri was just in an offside position for me. So he can create
Hmm.
chances. ACP, your view on this, on Ashik substitution?
Hmm.
hmm, I guess not a good move, but considering that we did not have squad depth, what would you expect? Because given the fact that they are bulky dudes running all over
Yeah,
the
but
pitch and injuring Indian players just for fun. I mean,
Hmm.
a tough guy like Anas Edetodika limped off. You imagine that a guy like Sandesh Jingan, who actually breaks bones by his kung fu kicks on the pitch, he is feeling the pain. I mean, you can imagine the natural brute strength of the Bahraini players. And bringing a striker like JJ, who's actually a surprise package because he's short, but he is strong and he can hold on to the players and he can, hold them back
Hmm.
and move the ball faster. Exactly the same thing if you remember the Kyrgyz Republic qualifier game. It was
Yeah.
JJ who held on to the players and then allowed Chetri to move forward. So that's what that man can bring about. That's what that man is capable of. The underestimating thing of the opponent is what JJ brings in because of his height. But when it comes to strength, JJ
He
brings in a
is.
lot of
uh,
confidence on the attacking front. Even the goal against Thailand, man, you saw his
hmm.
the way he towed the
The
ball.
first chip.
Yeah,
Yep.
he used his toes so as to get the fourth goal. I mean, he's got some power, man. He's not called the Mizo sniper for no reason.
For
But
the,
Ashik Kurunian getting substituted, I think even Ashik did not have a good game
he
against
did not have a
UAE
good
either.
game, but I think he again pace was very important against Bahrain. Since we're playing very very defensive, I think those counter attacks could have been converted. You had one or two chances. Again, one that very crucial pass that he could have played, but he took a chance and he had a big run with the ball. That was one chance that I think should have been like it was a very open chance. You had Chetri right in the middle with no one marking him. You had Udanta who was coming right in with a player who was very far behind. Uh, I
Again,
don't know.
inexperience, man. Inexperience.
Inexperience. Yep.
Exactly. And the energy was, they did not know where to use their energy. Now we're going into future tournaments. Well, this was just a, just a impression to the world that what Indians are capable of. We just wanted to show the world what we can do. Now is the time where we start, developing and start learning from these games as to which games should be given more importance or which games
Exactly.
Exactly.
should be
So
taken seriously, which games are those games where we should come out with a point at least, or start thinking diplomatically. Now is the
Also,
time you start thinking.
Ashwin, you mentioned
yeah,
Chetri press conference, and that there was that one point where it wasn't our mentality, correct?
yeah,
Like to go for a draw.
yeah,
It wasn't our it shouldn't have been
yeah,
because considering the fact I read some tweets and I agree with that. We thought that the India that we would see in the tournament, we actually saw that in the crunch moments. We actually saw a whole new different team in the first two games. Those
yes,
135 minutes were like the best. And then the next 135 minutes actually turned out to be the most catastrophic that resulted in the downfall, actually.
yeah,
And Chetri and Constantine clearly had a bust up there. Pradyumna also mentioned that Chetri was our coach for the Asian Cup is what.
yes.
100%,
And
100%,
100% it was about.
100%.
so
What
Oh,
you would expect 1-2 football inside the box from Constantine.
and some people who have just followed are asking why the stick for Constantine. He's been a polarizing figure, Pradyumna, and clearly for those who have followed were not surprised by the tactics. Some of them, obviously, at the end of the day, we all thank him for what he's done
Hmm.
for Indian football. But then there are some decisions, and that's the topic that we're getting to, and that is that he's a polarizing figure, Pradyumna. Your overall take, and Ashwin, I'm going to come to you second. I'm going to come to
yes,
you. Your overall take on Stephen Constantine's reign and how did it pan out? Obviously, we went from 173 to 97, but some of the decisions were clearly weird. How do you assess that?
See, I criticize him, but I appreciate him more actually, to be honest, because coming to a national team or coming to a nation of ranking 173 at the first place and taking that job is no mean feat. Thinking that let's turn these bunch of youngsters into some team which can actually compete with the best in Asia, and also create an imprint to the rest of the world, saying
mm,
that we can play like this. And whole credit goes to Constantine for building the foundation, laying the foundation for something that is going to be more glorified and beautiful in the coming years. But criticism for the simple fact that, see, we had 1.5 year before the Asian Cup. He would have experimented with the players. He would have experimented with dynamic wingers. You have Udanta and Narzari on one side. You would have had Mandar Rao Desai on the bench, who would have made sure Narzari performs even better. You would have
Hmm.
had Brandon Fernandez on the midfield bench, which would have made sure that Roland Burgess and Thapa stay on their toes. You would have had players like Susai Raj, you would have had players like Rahul Bheke, you would have had innumerable amount of players. I can't even name those players who would have actually made an instant impact into the squad, given the fact that they would have been given a chance.
Hmm.
If you would have just called them up to the national team camp saying that bhai aa jao, just try out, the other players who are in the team would have been on their toes saying that okay, so we've got some bench strength, if we don't perform we are out. Some of
Hmm.
those players stayed a bit calm and composed after we were qualified for the Asian Cup. We had 1.5 years to experiment, and we were
Experiment.
one of
Exactly.
the earliest nations to qualify for the Asian Cup. So that was not mean feat. And whole credit goes to Constantine for making sure that we qualify for the Asian Cup. But
Hmm.
still, going into this tournament, we had some amount of time. We would have started experimenting. Who knows? We would have actually got some bench strength that would have made an entire difference against Bahrain. You had a holding midfielder in Adil Khan. You had a holding attacking midfielder in Michael Susairaj. You had Alvin George. You had
George,
innumerable amount of
George.
players. And then you had Manveer Singh. You also had. I can just
You
name the
have
players
lots
if you
of
want.
players.
Yeah,
There are lots of players
and he
who are.
gave debuts.
Absolutely.
He gave debuts to innumerable amount of players. That's 100% true. But the
Hmm.
simple fact that he didn't use those debuts, or he didn't use those young talents in the stipulated amount of time that was delivered to him, was
Hmm.
something which was more of a concern. Otherwise, he's done a brilliant job considering the fact that our fitness levels aren't that great compared to
Yeah,
world football.
that was
He
But
made
clearly.
sure.
but the
Yeah.
He
Yes,
made sure.
Ashwin,
but
all to you.
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
which on the fitness part, it's improved a lot. Don't you
Yeah,
agree,
yeah.
CK?
No, no, true,
It improved
absolutely.
a lot.
But because of the simple, but then comes the inexperience factor yet again, because
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
actually were gassed out. Actually, we were gassed out
Hmm.
after the Thailand game. You saw against UAE, Constantine just gave up. He was thinking about the Bahrain game in the second half
He
of
started.
UAE
Yeah.
game itself. He took out Thapa. He brought in Jackie Chan Singh, and then he introduced JJ. What does that mean? You're already thinking
So
about the
again,
next game.
on the Thapa substitution, I think that was because of the injury.
Okay,
Uh,
so yeah, if you're
because
talking about injury, okay, okay. So
I
just a medical point of view, just a medical
yeah,
point of view,
yeah,
common
yeah,
sense
obviously.
medical, no
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure,
no complication. Okay,
sure.
Thapa is 20 years old. Okay,
Yep,
okay. Back is one of those areas which gets recovered the fastest in young players. Okay, keep that
yeah,
anatomical thing in mind.
yep, sure.
Okay, so even if he's had an injury to the back muscle, it's चलो lower back पे मार बैठ गया.
Ah,
How did he play 15 minutes against Bahrain? That too box to box.
that's another thing. But that's
And
where
if he
I'm
had to be
confused.
injured, he shouldn't have even been on the bench if it was a serious
I,
back
I
injury.
I think the Bayern substitution was in desperation of finding a goal because
Exactly. Imagine
by
Thapa
the
starting the
time he
game.
knew that by the time he knew that it is like he knew that we are going to concede some now in some time for sure.
But
He was
again,
aware of that
yeah,
scenario.
but again,
He brought him on the 79th
yeah, yeah,
minute. That's
absolutely.
another
Exactly,
question if you
exactly.
had to bring in.
Exactly. So that's why when you think of somebody who's into, like medical things in sports, I just imagine why is he resting a 20-year-old player? 20-year-old is supposed to be high on energy,
Energy.
high on any kinds of emotional strains. He has nothing to lose kind of mentality as far as his persona is also concerned, as far as his game strategy is also concerned, as far as his health is also concerned.
Hmm.
Because he need not be rested meticulously like somebody like a Chetri who's 34, whose
Yep.
metabolism will be less or something. He's Thapa and he's a midfielder. He's a box to box midfielder. He is supposed to be high on energy 24/7, given the fact that he's only 20. So that factor comes into mind. Even if he's injured, he would have played 45 minutes easily. Yeah. Let him settle
Yeah,
down in the
yeah,
game.
yeah. And
Okay.
saying it was a very important game for us, I think he should have played at least for the second half.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
expecting him to come on the second half. Every time we were talking about it in the studios as well, that we wanted him, but for some reason, I don't know, Constantine tactics basically.
And we
And
chanted so loud
Ashwin,
in the
We
Star
were,
Sports studio,
oh my
as soon
God.
as he came on, right? We were
Yeah,
right on the
yeah,
toes.
Yes,
exactly.
and even at the screenings when Thapa came on, everyone went crazy. Like I have a video. I think I'll send you guys. Everyone went crazy. Everyone started with dancing and they were
But
everyone started.
we
So
were expecting something from
I
Thapa.
I personally I personally have followed Indian football since 2016. That is my
Yes.
view, and I was obviously very much to criticize the coach on the tactics because the captain also didn't agree. Also, his age, seeing his age, he knew that what a bigger stage this was. I mean, the next Asian Cup is in 4 years, and as the time passes by, Khetri is not getting younger, and
Obviously.
one
Uh,
area of concern. Well, Ashwin, uh,
yes.
Stephen Constantine is gone.
Yeah.
Uh, Press conference, he was emotional. He, I think, left. Yes, he left. That brings us to the next topic, which is the new coach. Which is a new coach. There have been many that are linked. I heard a few tweets saying Ashley Westwood ko de do, but but that's one point. What sort of a coach would you want, and what philosophy will he bring? Or do you have some names in mind?
I think it has always been something that we are looking out for foreign coaches, but I think it's time that we find out some Indian good coaches. We do have you have Venki there, just as a lot of people have mentioned. I think Venki is a pretty good coach. Venki is basically one of the assistants of Constantine, but he's a very good coach. So
Hmm.
he is a pretty good coach in terms of getting up the young players. I think we again that's a very difficult choice of saying because we were expecting Alberto Roca, but he went to China under 23. So uh, he was a coach that I was expecting to come in. Right now, I don't have any names to provide because we are currently in a situation where I don't think many of the great coaches would love to come to India.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
after
Also,
the AFC loss.
and it was such a loss. I remember messaging Ashwin today morning and gutted, devastated, like hangover in here. I, मतलब sleepless man, sleepless. And
I
three
was really.
3 minutes ऐसे पता है अभी प्रद्युम्ना will be like jinx करता है साला पनौती है साला.
No, but
Pradyumna,
seriously,
Pradyumna new coaches, a new coach always warrants a new philosophy. And the same question goes to you as to who do you see, coming over? Do you, have you read something on the links already in the day? Anyone linked?
Yeah, there's been some link saying that Arrigo Sacchi is coming. Arrigo Sacchi, sorry, is coming to India. I think he's a bit too old for the job. 71 is not some age to work. But anyway, if you want a coach for the Indian national team now, it must be somebody who will make sure that the team plays as a single unit,
Hmm.
because the Constantine era, you had only one player of one quality, that was Sunil Chetri,
Hmm.
and the team had to revolve around his ideas, his strategies, and his
attacking
module of
capability.
experience, his experience module, as well as his pattern of gameplay. And that's why Indian players were on their toes. But you see the under 23s that Constantine has developed and left,
Hmm.
they are playing as a unit. They are playing as a team.
Hmm.
Like, you can't just single out one player from that team. You take the entire team's name and you are like, yes, ये अपना team है. Even the under 16s, the under 18s are playing like a single unit. So any coach that comes needs to infuse a mentality that goal खाया तो चलेगा, 5 goal मारना है. If
And
you
that
have that
actually the
kind of,
mentality.
because now it's high time we don't just sit back and be scared and try to defend our own wall. Go out, go out on the other half, destroy the opponent, and come back. Nothing happens if we concede 2 goals. If we are strong enough mentally, if we know that we can smack Thailand 4-1, we can
Yeah.
actually tear them apart. If that is possible, we can actually play every game like that. And ball playing mentality, yeah, that is something that's needed.
Hmm.
Some coach like that. So I'd rather prefer somebody who's of German nationality, because Germans are technically superior on the ball, as well as they infuse certain kind of
And they
mentality
have
that
great
doesn't let
pace.
you down.
They
Because
have
if you
great pace.
see Nikolai Adam himself, Nikolai Adam was the coach of under 17. So somebody of Nikolai Adam kind of mentality, somebody who has technical sense. Because currently what India needs is some technical brilliance.
Hmm.
Tactical, going
Yeah.
for an Italian coach or going for somebody that involves tactics is a bit too far. Is a bit too far, because ISL I League coaches are anyway doing the same thing. Tactically building the players. But on an
Yeah.
international level, currently what we need is something that requires mental confidence, not just physical confidence. So any German
Hmm.
coach or anybody with a mentality of just go all guns blazing, don't care about the outcome, will be preferable.
One more thing to add on this, right? I would love to have a coach who has a wonderful coordination with all the ISL coaches,
Yeah, true.
or the I League coaches, because this will at least make us a pathway for AFC Club Championships as well as AFC National Team Championships as well. Uh,
Well,
and
correct. Yeah.
as well as for the World Cup qualifiers, which will be
Hmm.
starting soon.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think right now you have a great bunch of players who we can work on. We have great players in Anwar Ali in the under 17, under 18,
Hmm.
under
Yeah.
20 team
Yeah.
who are showing the exceptional qualities already. So you know they are already prepared to step in places. And I think after today's sad retirement of Arnas,
I know.
really
Yeah. We're going to come to that. Yeah.
so
Clearly.
so you have great players who can step in. Let them learn from experience. This is the time. You have 2 more years for the qualifiers, AFC qualifiers to begin soon. I expect them to begin soon, like with the World Cup qualifiers. And this is the time we test. Get more friendlies up right now. Don't wait for the international friendlies only, as scheduled by FIFA. Try and arrange friendlies with the clubs as well. I think that will give a powerhouse opportunity for the Indian football right now, going ahead.
Pradyumna and Ashwin, there is something that I would like both of you to ask both of you. And we've seen Ranjit Bajaj, owner of Minerva, going all out on Twitter in the past 20 days, saying that Reliance is against the I League, is about is choking, is about to murder I League. That's the word I'm going to use because what I've seen and what I've read and what I've followed. But if you all want to answer, do you think India needs a proper league structure so that it can help the benefit the national team? Because also one more question: do you think the next coach that comes in is going to be AIFF's puppet? Going thinking that I read somewhere that Stephen Constantine had the spine to go against them. So first question comes to the league structure, Pradyumna. Do you think we need a proper league structure, like a proper relegation and promotion thing, and a proper league structure?
Yes, absolutely. But still, there is time for that, because if you cannot sustain a club, if you cannot sustain a team by its financial or marketing perspective, how would you expect the team to function for 8 to 9 months straight? That too in a promotion relegation structure where there is not just losses for the players as far as opportunities are concerned, but there is loss on the side of finances and all that stuff as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes, so as to make it effortless on the pitch. But if you take that aside, if you just considering the footballing point of view, yes, a definite league structure is required. And to be very honest and to be very crude, it might sound rude, but the fitness levels that have been decreased of the Indian players, however fit they were because of the I League. Let's be very honest, because of the
Hmm.
simple fact that you would so actually if you spot Salam Ranjan Singh, he barely played a game. He barely played for East Bengal as well. You see the way he adjusted to the conditions, just 15 minutes coming into the game. That's what I League teaches you. That's exactly what ILEC teaches you to, just go out there. Prasad, you've seen the Mumbai FC games as well. You know how it
Yes.
is to be
Yes.
crudely defending against all odds, whatever be the
Yes.
outcome. If you have to save yourself, you have to save yourself.
Yeah.
It's either survive or be the king. It's
Mumbai
that
Really.
kind
FC
of
used to give
mentality.
Mumbai FC
Yeah,
gave Bangalore a hard time.
Yeah,
I could remember Jingan completely when you say Mumbai FC.
because the I League actually teaches you to maintain fitness levels and use them whenever needed, and that league structure actually teaches you when to use what kind of stamina and how much importance needs to be given to certain amount of games. That the league structure actually teaches you organization and management of a player himself. And that's why Ranjit Bajaj Minerva rant is so valid, for the
Yeah.
simple fact that he is not giving just players just to the national team for a cause.
Yeah.
He's actually giving good amount of players. He's
Good amount
actually
of
giving
players.
good quality of players, not
Yeah.
just from Manipur or northeast pocket or Kolkata or Kerala. He's giving them from all over India, and he's
Yeah.
giving refurbished products to the Indian national team, and he deserves the credit that comes his way. So ISL, I'm not criticizing ISL, or I'm not doing any anti ISL propaganda here. You play ISL, not an issue, but if ISL is played in the way I League is played, it's going to be fun.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
That's
agree.
some key. That's some valid point. Ashwin, you want to add something there?
Yes, I agree with the ACB completely on this because yes, I League has been the league of the top tier of Indian football from quite a long time, and you have seen great players developing from it. And yes, you see, as ACB rightly mentioned about Salam Singh, he barely came in for 15 minutes and he adjusted so really well to the conditions. You have got great players in the I League as well. And though ISL has provided a little bit of higher opportunities by giving better foreign exposure, uh, there has been more away trips that they have taken out in other countries to go and adjust to their conditions as well, learn their gameplay. Fitness levels, I would not love to comment on neither I League's quality or ISL's because not the best in the world, you can say. You have better conditioning that is available right now in India itself. So ISL, I League both have their opportunities, but a proper league is required. Again, we are in some mandate right now of having to do a proper league soon. So
So the yeah, and guys, I think we've discussed almost everything. Pradyumna, we gave such a fabulous message at the end of the previous video, and that actually got a lot of good comments. You're on fire, man. You're
अरे बाप रे.
अंगार है अभी
Thank you.
गली बॉय एसीपी बॉय ऐसा कुछ बनाना पड़ेगा मूवी अभी
ACB
बट
अंगार है, बाकी सब अंगार है.
even today after a heartbreaking loss the fact that that 1 week was the best one of our lives. We waited so long for that, and some of them are dejected, but it's like we mentioned in the last episode, it's our duty to at least talk about Indian football and encourage people to watch, to go to the stadiums. So ACP, one more time, एक अंगार वाला एक अंगार है अंगार message to everyone who will watch this video, and what holds the future for Indian football, and how do you, anything you want to say on that?
Okay, so this dates back to March 2017, where India defeated Myanmar through a last-minute goal. Udanta with the run and Chetri with the goal. That still gives me goosebumps. Then the Kyrgyz Republic game. See, the team has given us very good memories going into the tournament. We must not forget that. I mean, we must not forget the fact that they are the reason we are in unison. They are the reason why we can see ourselves in the top 32 of the world in the near future. They are the reason they are sacrificing their lives for a good cause. They are striving so hard to give us good moments of our
Hmm.
own lives.
Yes.
They are ensuring the common masses do come in unison to support the beautiful game. And the beautiful game also has its ugly side, and we actually saw that against Bahrain. Football can be cruel sometimes, but we need to chin up. We need to make sure that there is always a tomorrow, there is always a new day that's coming your way. Yes, going into the tournament, we did not expect our team to even get a single point out of it. We did not expect. We just thought it is going to be an exposure trip, an industrial visit kind of trip for the Indian national team going into the Asian Cup, just enjoying and just having the taste of what Asian football is all about. But then came 6th of January 2019, one of the best days. What could be a better start to the year than an
The four
absolute
one.
stunning victory, absolute stunning victory against the war elephants.
Thailand. Yeah.
Oh,
The blue tiger started growling with pride. The blue tiger started showing why is it called a tiger and not any other animal. And the way the Tigers roared against the United Arab Emirates, all those Habibis were quiet for the 90 minutes.
Yes.
We made sure those Habibis do not shout as much as they should have shouted, and the underestimation proved wrong. And we have actually opened the eyes of many people around the world. The world has started to watch us. Asia has started to watch us. This was just a glimpse of what we can do. When we come back, watch out.
Oh, and Ashwin, to going to you now. You are in the studio, and obviously there are some things that you couldn't speak there, but
uh,
that's going to be the theme of the Indian episode here, is to give out a message or give out final thoughts that you feel you might want to share with the viewers.
you know, supporting Indian football for us is pretty emotional. Every time we sit back in the stadium or probably in studios or watch screenings, a lot of people might think कि चिल्ला के क्या होता है, chant करके क्या होता है. That is our way of providing love to the players. They lost. It's fine. It happens. It's a game, and there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. It was a bad day for Indian football. It's fine, but criticizing them and already demotivating the players is not an answer. This is the time that we need to stand up for them. We need to help them get up, rise up again, stand again, go forward with that mentality. Okay, every game is our last game, and we have to give the best to the country, to the fans. And we as fans have a very big responsibility right now. Again, as I remember one of my friends rightly saying, I would rather say the name Basim in one of the appeals after Sunil Chetri's appeal during the ICC that no national team captain should come ahead and have the need to appeal to the people to come and watch games. This is what we should do. We should throng the stadiums in numbers. This is the time we need to go all out, all power, and show the world that we have truly risen up. It's time that we start roaring in every match. Now is the time. Again, it's completely the onus is on players and us right now, and no one else will be responsible. No opposition is bigger. No, you can say no defeat can put you down. That's all I can say right now.
Well, thank you guys for doing this episode on such a short notice. I know it's been a long day, long, devastating day
Yeah.
and we are slowly overcoming the defeat. But it gives there are a lot of positives in the future, and that reminds me that we have an ongoing I League season and an ISL season. Would surely like you all to be here again to speak on them. Those is some of those. Also, there can be a mid-season review or we a preview of a big game, which reminds
Yeah.
me that the Kolkata Derby is coming, Pradyumna.
Yes. Yes.
and it's been a pleasure that this 1 week has been the best week of my life. I've met some fantastic people, fabulous people. I've chanted my heart out, and it's driven that emotion and it's driven that support that the coming in the few months, in the few years, I will be following each and every thing that happens related to Indian football. Well,
Yeah, we
I
were so
hope
connected as a family, dude. We were very connected as a family. Everybody's just talking about what our nation is doing, what our national team is
absolutely,
doing. Nobody's talking about clubs. Nobody's Mohan Bagan. Nobody's East Bengal.
Yes.
Nobody's
absolutely.
Mumbai City.
Exactly that.
Nobody's FC Goa. Nobody is nothing. Everywhere, I'm just hearing one word:
Blue pill,
India.
India,
India.
India.
That's
Yep.
Everywhere.
why.
Wherever I'm going, everywhere the atmosphere was so lit
Uh,
only about just one cause, and that was a national team. So imagine if a few hundred people can do that and create an atmosphere.
Yeah,
Imagine what a billion can do.
absolutely.
that
1.3 billion.
that's perfectly
And
said, Ashwin.
those scarves, those ISL scarves, all of the club scarves that were placed one after the other. Unity, we are united more than ever. That message. So before we go, a very big thank you to the Blue Pilgrims for organizing those screenings throughout the three league games on all venues in multiple cities. Multiple cities, by the way. Actually, got many
Including
people.
Sharjah.
Yeah, and
Including
I'm
sir.
getting there, and I'm getting there, and all those who went to UAE, a big hats off to you. That the atmosphere you all created inside the stadium, back kudos, like hats off to you guys.
That banner, "This is India,"
That
that's
man, this is
Yep,
absolutely
yep,
India.
amazing.
exactly. The national anthem that I have that video. I played that video on a loop today in the morning, and
Uh,
pretty much helped me get over for some time. Although I hope the future is bright. There's always the word,
it's, it's,
and I hope to see you guys soon
yeah,
uh,
sure, Prasad.
for some more episodes on Indian football, I League and ISL. So
Yes,
that's it from this
Prasad.
episode. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
man.
Prasad,
Jai
for
Hind.
having us. Jai Hind, Jai Hind.
Yeah, back the blues.
Back to Blues.